Hello and welcome to another restoration series. This is a very special series here because we are restoring and talking about a ultra rare Capehart. It is a 1937 Capehart 500E. This is number 14, the 14th discovery of the Capehart 500 Empire machines that are known to exist out there amongst the collecting world. So this is number 14, and it was recently discovered in the wild from the original family just several months ago. I purchased this unit once I discovered it, but I did not have intention to purchase it originally. It was the intriguing story of the family and the gentleman who owned this machine that made it such a special Capehart, and one that I felt would be a great candidate for restoration, but also ownership and preservation. I sold off my entire radio collection, including all my Capehart 400s, just about a year or two ago, waiting for this opportunity. I had no clue that it came around. I was not really looking for a Capehart 500, but I was patiently waiting one day to see if one would come available. Well, this very unit came available. A friend of mine notified me, and another friend made the purchase happen. And I have created a good rapport with the original family. I continue to stay in contact with them, and I told them that I'd be sharing this Capehart and its restoration with the YouTube world. These machines are very rare. They're very elegant. The top echelon of society purchased the Capehart 500 during its production between 1937 and 1942. Most likely, Capehart ran out of the beautiful Empire cabinet, which you see before us, in 1940 or 1939. And by 1942, some of the custom music shops like Liberty Music would make cabinets that are similar but nowhere near as ornate and exquisite. So the gentleman that owned this Capehart, his name was Nate Miller. He immigrated to the U.S. from Russia in 1902, and he got on with the various amusements like the World's Fair or I don't know, some of the West Coast arcades, roller coaster rides, stuff like that. He went all around the country, really made a name for himself, became very wealthy from it too. And in 1940, he semi retired from the industry with the amusements and he became an owner operator for rides and arcades near the Pike, which I think was near Ocean View, if I'm not mistaken. That's in Long Beach, California. Well, he moved into the Villa Riviera sometime in the 1930s, which is a very nice luxury high-rise hotel slash apartment building, which is now in the National Historic Register in Long Beach, California. Well, this machine would be fitting for the Villa Riviera because it was a very expensive place to live back in the 30s. Nate Miller lived at the Villa Riviera with his very machine when he purchased it in 1937. He stayed at the Villa Riviera until 1948, moved out and moved into a duplex, and passed away shortly after he purchased a duplex in 1948 from a heart attack. I think he was in his 60s, if I'm not mistaken. Well, in 1946, he brought over a family member who is the only surviving Holocaust member from Germany, to my knowledge, during World War II. And it was his niece. He brought her over, I think, in 46 or 47, and treated her very well, helped her get on her feet. And when he passed away, the niece inherited the entire estate that he had, the duplex and this beautiful Capehart 500. Well, the Capehart 500 was put in storage, I think, by the niece in 1948. And it stayed in storage. It moved several times during its storage facility. But it stayed in storage until just a few months ago when I was able to purchase it from the niece's daughter. The niece lived, I think, to 102 years old, and she wrote a book which I'm currently trying to acquire a copy of. There'll be plenty more on the history of this machine as we move forward. It's a very special history, and I want to share it with everybody because this machine needs to be shared. Not only is it Capehart's finest, but the history behind it is also the finest as well, in my opinion. So the niece was 102 years old when she passed away a few years ago, or the great niece, or excuse me, the niece, yeah. The niece was 102 years old, passed away several years ago. The great niece, which was the niece's daughter, who I'm in contact with, She sold the machine to me just recently. So the cabinet is exquisite, as you can see. And the video doesn't do it justice. It sits almost 5 feet tall and almost 6 feet wide and weighs over 500 pounds. Let's take a closer look. So the machine was purchased by Nate Miller, brand new in 1937, which 1937 was the debut year for the Capehart 500 Empire. Capehart offered only one cabinet style, the Empire, until 1939, when they issued the Spanish Revival cabinet as well. Well, it is the understanding of collectors and historians of the Capehart products, including myself, that Capehart ran out of 500 Empire cabinets because they were all built in 1937. They made a run of about 50 or so, at least that's what we think, but only 14 complete Capehart 500 cabinets have ever shown up. Excuse me, it's not exact. I think it's 14 or 13. A friend of mine has a 1940 Capehart 501H, which is in a Spanish Revival cabinet, and I think it's included in that number. So there's only 14 of these behemoths known to exist, this one being number 14. You can see the original cabinet finish is in excellent condition. There is various areas of dirt and grime. You can see here something dribbled down on the cabinet. But I will clean the finish, and it will look spectacular when I'm done with it. I have cleaned many radio cabinets over the years. The original finish here will be left. I will not be refinishing this set. It's just too nice and grand. You can see the hand carvings, exquisitely done. Absolutely amazing. We're missing one door pull. Ironically, this door pull right here was discovered in the cabinet before it was packed up for shipment. So we reattached it. Hopefully that won't be there. Missing a piece of cabinet trim here. Also right here. Also, right here. You can see what it looked like next to it. And the last piece we're missing is right down here. It's not too bad. And it's not bad at all, because we have a gentleman on the East Coast who has one of these Capehart 500s. A good friend of mine. He knows a gentleman who can reproduce these parts. So let's take a look inside the radio compartment door here. You would say to yourself, 1937 500E, wouldn't that have a circular dial, right? 1937, yes. But this machine was upgraded by the Capehart dealer in 1942, right before the war. And he likely did that because he knew radio production was going to be kaput for the next, 4 or 5 years. So he got the best electronics installed right before the war broke out. We just finished a 1942 Capehart 410M restoration previously. So if you're interested in seeing that, be sure to check out my other videos. I have a 2-part restoration on it for a gentleman in Chicago. These knobs all have an even patina to them. These two should be the small ones, and we're missing one in the center. Something that I'll have to further investigate. To the right here, we have our record compartment. Several interesting things to note here. Number one, the changer is the pot metal variation from 1942. It was upgraded as well with all the other electronics. We have a pilot lamp in the back right hand corner, a hole here, the original play control from 1942, and the original lamp from 1937 right there. Down below we have our tone chamber. These doors pivot as such. Look how beautiful that woodwork is. Absolutely stunning. Grill cloth is impeccable. Stay tuned for part 2, and we'll show you the grand electronics in the rear of the cabinet. Stay tuned.